Before we start, I wanted to let you know that if you came to this video hoping to celebrate the early demise of someone, this might not be the video for you. But while we're at it, I want to add a few disclaimers. Number one is this isn't so much about the death of this person as it is about the reaction and the reasons for the reactions for this person. I am not completely unbiased in the making of this video because I, like most of us in the United States, have to have insurance in order to be taken care of medically. And if I had $1 for every time I have felt a pain or something and I just don't go to the doctor because I know the amount of money we're going to have to spend is ridiculous, I'm not alone in that. I'm also not alone in thinking that the process of getting medical attention in the United States should be easier for all its citizens, not just the ones who have money. One of the interesting comments that I saw on social media was that if you can't afford medical care, you should not exist. You should die. Funny enough, from someone who claims to be from a political perspective that claims that they want the best for all its citizens, but keeps showing their elitist views time after time after time. If the world was only populated by the richest of the rich, what would happen to them after a couple of years? See, the funny thing about people wanting to hoard all the resources and the money is that one of two things are going to end up happening. Either going to end each other in the pursuit of having even more goods and riches, or they're quickly going to realize that if somebody doesn't do the job that they refuse to do, they're not going to be rich for too long. And so what I want you to look at in this video is not so much the, as you're going to hear a lot, noise that people are making, is to actually sit and look at what they are actually saying. And maybe, just maybe, you will understand why people are not taking this demise the way that the rest of humanity expects. Welcome, bienvenidos. Today is a different day than the usual Vlogmas. I am trying to keep it more lighthearted on that particular set. I mean, sometimes I am going to touch on very serious topics, but I'm trying to find the positive angle if I can, or the lesson that we can learn, or whatever. This is a specific situation that I wanted to address. Now, Vlogmas for me is going to be Monday through Friday, so this particular Vlogmas is going to be an extra, correct? It is what it is. The reason for this has to do with the recent events involving United Healthcare. Now, I'm not going to get into specifics of the situation. We've all seen the news. What I want to get across is something that I noticed yesterday. So Ken Klippenstein, I hope I'm saying the name right, posted a video that was leaked to him, as you can see on the screenshot. And yes, you're going to see me looking down because I have to remember the names of people. And I'm not that good with, well, a name like Ken's is kind of hard. So what happened was, I saw this video that Ken posted about the CEO of United Healthcare Group, not to be confused with United Healthcare, because United Healthcare Group is like, let's put it this way, that's the umbrella of everything, and then United Healthcare was, the CEO of United Healthcare was the healthcare, the insurance part, so to speak, okay? United Healthcare Group includes other things, which includes pharmacies and other. We're not going to get into that whole argument now, but I want you to understand the difference between one CEO and the other. Now, I want you to focus on a specific word choice that this man did. I don't know the name. Oh, I'm sorry. Andrew Whitty is the name of the, and I hope I'm saying that name right, is the CEO of United Healthcare Group. And he decided, he made a very interesting word choice. And that was the word noise. And as soon as I heard that on that video, I decided that I wanted, in order to transform the content to not get a copyright strike, I decided that I wanted to show you what he was referring to when he was saying the word noise. Now, the video from the CEO, Andrew Whitty, is about 2 minutes and 45 seconds long. The entire time you're going to be seeing what he calls noise. He's not going to mention the word noise until towards the end of the video. Now, very important for you to understand that in order for me to do this, I was not going to go back and look at the 400,000, well, there's too many of them, complaints of people specifically about United Healthcare. What I decided to use was a tweet thread that was created by Democrats Hate the Working Class. And this person asked people to let him know about issues that they had been having with the insurance. Now, I did not add any other threads that I found or comments that I found or posts that I found, but I want you to understand something that's really important. I personally saw hundreds and hundreds of comments, posts, replies everywhere, from Facebook to Spotify, Blue Sky, Twitter, YouTube, and even TikTok videos of people commenting on their horror stories, not only with the medical field entirely, but specifically with United Healthcare. Once I show you the video and the thread that this person created by asking people to give him his horror stories, which, by the way, he started it, and you can stop to read at any point on this video because there's so many of them and they're all so sad. But after that, I'm going to give you my commentary on why this is important to me and why this is so frustrating.
I'm sure everybody has been disturbed by the amount of negative and, in many cases, vitriolic media and commentary that has been produced over the last few days, particularly in the social media environment. And I want to reassure you of a few things. Firstly, we are going to continue to make sure that we put patients, consumers, and members first, as we always have done. The mission of this company is truly to make sure that we help the system improve by helping the experience for individuals get better and better. There was nobody who did more to try and advance that mission than Brian Thompson. And there are very few people in the history of the US healthcare industry who had a bigger positive effect on American healthcare than Brian. And we are going to make sure that we not only acknowledge and honor that legacy of Brian, but we will continue it. Our role is a critical role, and we make sure that care is safe, appropriate, and is delivered when people need it. And we guard against the pressures that exist for unsafe care or for unnecessary care to be delivered in a way which makes the whole system too complex and ultimately unsustainable. So we're going to continue to make that case. We will continue to do the work we do. And I have never been more proud of this company and our colleagues and what this company does on behalf of people in need across the country. I encourage you to tune out that critical noise that we're hearing right now. It does not reflect reality. It is simply a sign of an era in which we live. What we must do is focus on what we know to be true. And what we know to be true is that the health system needs a company like United Health Group, and it needs people like Brian within it. We're fortunate that within this company, we have so many people driven and inspired in the same way that Brian was, and we will continue in our journey to help everybody who needs it within the health environment.
So as you can see, the man had a lot to say in 2 minutes and 45 seconds, or maybe he didn't have anything to say. That's up to you to decide. But I'm going to tell you why I'm frustrated. And let's start with word choice to begin with, okay? This man decided to use the word noise when referring to all the posts and comments that people were leaving on the internet, right? Let's remember that maybe 5 or 6 years ago, we started seeing how people and institutions started talking about anything negative in their direction as cancel culture or I'm getting hate on the internet, etc. Every single one of those instances was more of people sharing their negative experiences or calling them out on their bad behavior justifiably. So now he decides to use the word noise to insinuate that the people that are not crying over the death of a CEO are all bad actors in bad faith that just want to destroy his company. No. Sir, if you actually took the time to listen to what these people are saying, you would improve the conditions of your company. Everything he said in the beginning about how much Mr. Thompson had helped the company create a better experience for the customers is absolutely wrong. Now, the second reason why this is frustrating is because I start a new insurance next month. My husband is working now and he has a full-time job with benefits that include a healthcare plan if he so chooses. Interestingly enough, my husband's covered by the VA, so until now he's covered for everything except for dental work. So we decided to, through his company, get insurance. Now, I have been in Obamacare the rest of the time. I have yet to use it. And the only reason why I didn't change it now that I am working full time is because I was not going to change it for less than a month, because the reality is that, number one, I'm not using it, so I'm just paying for not using it. And number two, and more importantly, the paperwork and all this other stuff is going to take longer than it's going to take for me to go to the other insurance, so why bother? But let's be very clear about something. I don't really care for insurance because, well, let me start by saying that the insurance that we're moving to happens to be United. And I was very excited and very happy about that until I started thinking about a few years back when I started working full-time here in Florida and I got United. I always thought United was such a great thing, but that's because we tend to normalize behavior when we see everybody going through the same thing. And I'm going to give you a very simple example. When I had gallbladder issues, it took them almost a year from the time I started having issues until the time I had the surgery. And the reason for that was because your doctor goes ahead and sends you to get some tests based on what you're telling him and what he's observing, because he wants to confirm his suspicion. My doctor knew from jump. In fact, not the GI doctor. My general doctor knew. As soon as I told him what was going on, he looked at me, he said, that's gallstones. My GI doctor, who was recommended, as soon as he heard all my symptoms, he goes, that's gallstones. But then they had to send me to get tests, to then send tests to verify those tests, to then send me to more tests to verify those tests. And meanwhile, I'm in pain, I'm missing work. There's all kinds of things that are related to this whole thing because insurance companies, in order to pay for the surgery, need you to basically jump through 5 million hoops. But because I got the surgery in the end, it didn't dawn on me that that's not the way this is supposed to work. Once I started hearing the noise and seeing all the posts on Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, Blue Sky, TikTok, and YouTube of all the people telling their horror stories, and of course, in their case, there are much worse medical conditions. I'm talking about cancers. I'm talking about horrible diabetes issues. All of them could have been handled if the insurance company had moved faster and approved care. But let's not forget that the person or persons that are approving, and I realize that now we have an issue with AI, okay? But the people historically who had been approving or not approving all these claims are people that don't have a medical degree. Yeah, there's a doctor somewhere that certifies their approval ratings, but the actual person that sits with your claim is usually not a doctor or medically trained in any way, shape, or form, except for maybe whatever United Healthcare deems necessary for them to do their job. And that's part of the problem. Let's keep it real for a second. What you've been watching while I've been talking is Facebook posts and Twitter posts. And if I find Blue Sky and Spotify posts about this situation, I'm going to add them as well. And keep in mind that for the hundreds that I might have been able to see, there are thousands others that are posting their claims on social media, telling you the horror stories. I even have one of the Facebook posts where a man said that he was very happy with his insurance and that he couldn't understand the uproar until he started reading the post. Well, I understood the uproar, but I was completely shocked by the horrible nature of United Healthcare specifically. But this is a problem with all insurance companies, by the way. And let me be very clear. I don't understand why we have insurance, why we have to have insurance. What we should be allowed to do as humans is to have a tax-free account that is only used for medical purposes. If you want to have your corporation put the money directly so you don't see it, that's up to you how you handle it. But we should be able, instead of wasting, because let me be very clear. Before I moved to the United States, I spent over 13 years in Puerto Rico, and every single job I had in Puerto Rico, I had insurance. And if I used a quarter yearly, which of course means that because you did not meet your deductible, you don't get a lower rate, because by the way, it's also not free. Once you meet your deductible, you still have to pay 15-20% of the charges. But you're supposed, I went and spent all that money, and I'm talking about thousands of dollars, because the average insurance for one or two people is $300, $400 a month. And I rarely ever used maybe 100 of that, maybe $200 a year. So for 14 years, all these companies are making all this money off me, but I don't get to benefit, because don't forget also that this goes by a yearly basis. So whatever you didn't use in 2024, the counter starts again in 2025. And so if you have a deductible of $2,500 and you use $2,490 this year, you don't get to use $10 next year and you're covered. No, you have to start the whole $2,500 again. So why not give me a tax-free account where I can put money that can only be used for medical purposes, and then every time I have a medical situation, I use the money from that. And please ignore the special effects. I don't know why they show up. This is something that is driving me crazy, because the bottom line for me in this situation is very simple. If you are appalled and shocked by the reaction of this man's deletion from the universe, but you're not appalled by the hundreds and thousands of people that have been hurt or have passed away because of denials or the runaround they have been getting by their insurance companies. The problem is not with the people that are not sad that this man is gone. The problem is with every single one of you who thinks that his life is more important than everybody else's. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.